everyone, I am Miss Crystal Litt and welcome to Morton Elementary School's Summer Camp 2020 edition. I hope that you have had an absolutely amazing summer thus far, and if you're like me, you're ready to get into some summer activities. So boys and girls, you should have already received some of your supplies that you need for the summer camp. All right, so today we are doing Lola Plants a Garden. And I've already gotten my little activity bag because I want to make sure that I'm able to go on ahead and get started with whatever activity we are doing. All right, so the first thing that you need to do is go ahead and pull it out. Make sure that you have a flat surface. This is a flat surface. We want to make sure that when we are doing our activities that we have something hard to write on or something hard to draw on or paint on, whatever it is that we're going to do for that day. All right, so with me, you are going to do the fork flower garden. So it's basically where we're going to use a fork and some paintbrushes and some paper to create a fork flower. All right, pull out that instruction packet for Lola Plants a Garden. You're going to turn until you see the page that says Fork Flower Garden. It's about the second page or the third page. So once you turn, you'll be able to see it. It's right here. And it's going to give us our materials and our instructions. All right. So our materials for this activity are a plastic fork, paint, white paper, paint, and a paintbrush. Our paintbrush is not going to be in this bag. It is going to be in another Ziploc bag that you all will have, okay? But I have mine in my bag right here. So I'm going to just follow the instructions to begin making our fork flower garden. Now, before you get all of your activities, this is what I think you should do. I'm going to suggest this. Go get your little cup and put a little bit of water in it so that when we're using our paintbrush, you can kind of just wipe it off a little bit. But if you can't do that, I'll give you another alternative in the video. All right, so I'm gonna put that to the side. Also, go get some napkins so we don't make a big mess, okay? So we're just gonna lay those flat, kind of flat on our flat surface. We're creating as we create our garden. All right, so let's get started with our instructions. Number 1 says, take out our Lola Plants a Garden activity bag. We've done that already. Step 2 says to take out your white paper and lay it down on a flat surface. So I'm gonna get my white paper out of here. I'm gonna lay it down on this flat surface because I wanna make sure that my art doesn't get messed up, okay? So that's why we need that flat surface. All right, I'm gonna turn the page because I have some more directions on the next page. Step 3, take out your paintbrush, plastic fork, and paint. Now on your directions, it does say that you'll need a green marker, but you won't because you're gonna have everything that you need inside of that bag. And remember, your paintbrush is inside of your Ziploc bag. So if you need your paintbrush, which you will, go ahead and pause the video really quickly and go get it. All right, so we're gonna take out our paintbrush. Here we go. I'm gonna lay all of my materials to the front so that I can see everything that I have. All right, we're gonna take out our plastic fork. This is what the plastic fork that you'll have. And we're gonna take out our paint. Now you have 2 little paint containers inside of your bag. You're gonna take both of those out because you're gonna need them. All right. So the first thing that we do when we draw flowers, before we even draw the actual flower part, we need to draw the stems. And we're gonna draw some grass, okay? So I'm gonna take, you have 2 colors, you can choose whichever color you want to be your stems. I'm gonna go with green. And green is one of my favorite colors. All right, so I'm gonna lay it again on that flat surface. The first thing I'm gonna do is dip it inside of the paint. And before I draw stems, I wanna draw just a little line for the grass, okay? So I'm gonna take it, dip it in there, and draw you some grass. And I'll show you what it looks like in a moment. Okay, I'm gonna fill it in, make it nice and pretty and green. All right. So I'm filling mine in, and then I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna lay that to the side. So this is a little line that I'm gonna use for grass, okay? I'm gonna put my stems, I'm gonna draw my stems on this grass. I'm gonna use that same exact color that I just used, the green, to create my stems. And I'm gonna put about 3, I wanna do 3 flowers, so I'm gonna make 3 stems. 1, that's 1. This is 2. And you may have to again double dip your paintbrush in there. 3. You might have to double dip it so that you can fill it up. Make sure there's no white in your stems. All right, I'm gonna put my paintbrush back down. So these are the stems that I have drawn. The next thing I wanna do is draw some little leaves from the stems. I'm gonna use, again, that same color. And if you wanna do yours a different color, you go right on ahead, honey. All right, I'm just gonna draw a little leaf out from there. Oh, this reminds me of painting when I was in elementary school. It was so fun. All right. I'm just gonna draw my stems anywhere that I want to on my little leaves, I'm sorry, anywhere that I want to on my stems. And it's okay if it doesn't come out perfect, it's absolutely fine. So I have my grass, my stems, and I have my leaves on my plant. Now what we're gonna get ready to do, you have that cup of water. We're gonna stick the paintbrush in here because we wanna get this green paint off, because now I'm about to use my purple paint. So I'm just gonna kind of lightly, gently whisk it around in here because I wanna get the green paint off of the paintbrush. If you don't have a cup, no worries, it's absolutely fine. You can take your paintbrush and go to the sink and rinse it off until you get all of the paint off of there. And feel free to pause the video if you need to do so. All right, so my paintbrush is nice and clean. And before I do my flower, my fork flower, I'm gonna make sure I put that top on the other one. I don't wanna make a mess. All right, so I'm gonna use my purple paint now to create my fork flower. So I'm gonna take the top off of it. You're gonna have a little white piece on your paint. It's okay, it's to make sure the paint stays in there. All you have to do is put that off to the side. I'm gonna lay that down on my little napkin. That napkin came in handy, didn't it? All right, so listen very carefully to these directions. So you have a fork, and our fork isn't a flat fork. It has a little hump on the back. So what we're gonna have to do is paint this fork on the back, and then I'll show you how we're gonna fill in our fork flower. Okay. And you're gonna take your paintbrush, paint the back part of the fork. This is the back right here. All right, gonna do it like I'm doing it. All right, we're gonna paint it. Painting the back of my flower, of my fork. Well, it will be a flower. I'm gonna paint the back of it really good with my paintbrush. So you might have to do it several times to make sure that it's the color that you need it to be. And I'm sure you're doing a good job. You're following directions very well. All right, I'm gonna lay my paintbrush off to the side. So, step 5 says we're about to make flowers. So we painted the bottom side of our fork with one of the paint colors that we have, and we're gonna stamp it on top of the stem. So remember we did those 3 stems. All right, I'm gonna stamp this fork onto this flower. So what you're gonna have to do is push it down at the top, and you're just gonna kind of go like this, and then bring it back. We're just gonna roll it back and forth, rock it back and forth several times until you see that the paint is on the flower, is on the paper, I'm sorry. All right, so I'm gonna kind of show you what I have. Well, actually, you know what I wanna do? I wanna go on ahead and paint my second one. And boys and girls, you know, your paint, your fork flower is gonna look totally different from mine, and that is absolutely perfect. We wanna see what your beautiful artwork is. So, we have a second one that we're painting, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Take the back of your fork and just kind of rock it, roll it on the paper. So, I'll show you what that looks like. Rock it, roll it back and forth until you see the paint on the paper. All right, and I have one more stem, so that means I need to do this one more time. I'm gonna paint it again. I don't want to put too much because remember we don't want to make a mess. Alrighty. So take it, put it down on the paper. Just make sure that you can see. Rock it, roll it. That's what we're doing. We're rocking it and we're rolling it. You ready? All right, I'm gonna put it on that paper. Rock it and roll it. Rock it and roll it. Back and forth. Back and forth. All right. So I've done that about 5 or 6 times, 7 times now. All right, I'm gonna show you what it looks like. And it's not finished yet, but I'm gonna show you what's the next step that we can do to make it look complete. So that's how it looks, because our fork isn't flat on the bottom, so it's not going, that bottom part isn't necessarily gonna show up so well on the flower. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use our paintbrush to fill in this part, the bottom part of our flowers. As you can see, I've already started using my nails to do that. All right, so lay that fork off to the side. Put your paper back down on that flat surface. And this is where your creativity can come to life. Simply just dip it in, and where that little spot was on the bottom, we're just gonna kind of fill it in there. Real nice. I'm just gonna show you what this one looks like. Oh gosh, I just know yours are gonna be absolutely amazing. I'm gonna put that down so that you can see what my first one looks like. So this is what the first fork flower looks like. I filled it in right here on the bottom, and this is what I'm gonna do with these two. I'm gonna fill it in so that it can actually look like a fork. Take your paintbrush again, dip it in, and just fill in the bottom. I'm so excited about seeing yours. All right, the last one that I have. All right, just gonna let it off to the side. So, there we have it. I have my fork flower creation. I used the green for the stem and the grass, and I used the purple for the actual portion of the fork. That's what it's gonna look like now. If you wanna take that paint and you wanna color it in, you wanna add some extra to it, you go right on ahead. Just make sure that you don't make a mess. All right, so I wanna flip my instructions over because I wanna make sure that I followed everything. All right, let's make sure that we've done everything. We've done steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, the very last thing that it says for us to do is to take pictures of your fork flowers. So go grab a friend, grab your mom, dad, have them, ask them really nicely, say please and thank you. Ask them to take a picture of your fork flower creation, and then you're gonna email that picture to the email address that we provided in the packet for you, okay? MES Summer Camp 2020 at scott.k12.ms.us. And it's right here, right there. That is the email address that you can send a picture of your beautiful fork flower paintings to, okay? Please make sure that you do that, and we cannot wait to see them. I can't wait to see them, because I'm sure some of yours may come out looking way better than mine, and that is absolutely perfect. So we painted that. We're gonna put it over to the side and make sure that we can draw. Now we wanna make sure that we clean up our mess. Putting our tops back on here. Make sure our paintbrushes are sealed tight. You are gonna take your paintbrush and your fork, and we're gonna go rinse them off in the sink, because as you can see, my water is a little dirty in my cup. So you can rinse these off in the sink. Make sure you gather all of your materials. Just lay it on top of there, including your instruction packet, because you're gonna need your instruction packet for the next few things. And we're gonna put all of that back into our bag. Boys and girls, I'm so glad that you did this activity with me, and I can't wait to see your fork flowers. I love you, and goodbye.